So yeah, so welcome everybody. So I see Ron is here, Whiskey, and Grandview Workshop as well. So what's going on, guys? So Whiskey is saying that he wants to move even further north because it's so hot, and he's up there in Canada. So there's not too much farther you can go, really. I mean there is, but so Grandview, yeah, there have been special guests. Yep, we have an interview section in our YouTube channel, which see if I can show you guys or not. First off, is this actually yeah, okay. Just making sure. Yes, all right. We'll go to my channel. Okay, so if you go on our channel and you scroll down, there's a tutorial section as well as our live show, so all the recordings. And you scroll down and there's interviews with stop motion and clay animation pros down here. So we have probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or so. Maybe not. We've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. So I did actually have quite a lot more, but unfortunately we used to use Livestream as our host for live shows, and so it had like a separate program, like some side software you download to broadcast with and everything. It was really complicated and wasn't actually. It was pretty bad. It was kind of slow, kind of pixelated, and so we ended up switching over to YouTube, but I didn't have a way to save all those files, and so I tried to for the more important ones, like there's one with actually Ron Cole. Which what I did was I made the screen as large as I could, and then recorded it, and then used OBS to actually like screen grab my entire screen in order to save some of the interviews. But there were a lot more. But there's going to be more in the future. It's just that I don't really push those too much because it does take a lot of time to set up and also to coordinate things and. I mean, I probably could do that more often, though, for sure. I mean, Ron wants to come back on, so it's possible. Hey, veteran. And, gotcha. Yeah, I figured that was probably you. All right, so moving forward. So it is feedback week, and so as you guys know, every other week is basically feedback week, but if nobody submits anything, we usually skip a week or two. And so it is July 3rd, and so we do have one submission, and it's from Lucas. And so if you guys recall, Lucas actually submitted one of these films, or this particular project, before it was completed a while back, and we watched it. And he said that he was going to add sound to it, and add music or whatever else, and effects, and put the animation together. And he was asking, I think the question he asked was, how do you keep the clay clean? Because he was running into a problem where, he would touch the clay and it would get dirty, and he wasn't really sure, like, how do you, what is going on here? And so we sort of talked about how you can take like plastic wrap and just kind of cover your set if needed. Simple things like keeping your hands clean with baby wipes, and scraping the clay with a tool and then smoothing it out with mineral oil, just to kind of get the dirty layer off. So there was actually quite a lot of things we talked about with his particular project, but it's finally completed, and it is a little bit over 3 minutes long. So we are going to watch it and just kind of discuss and talk about what we think about it, and yeah, so let's get started.
Pranksters. Hey, what's up, boy?
Playing pranks.
Chump.
Wanna play pranks?
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Watch this. Other way.
Huh? Watch this.
I love it.
Hey! We're here! We got cool little legs! Let's run around stuff!
Hey, see those guys?
Yay! Woohoo!
Let's dig some holes.
Chomp, 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 chomp. That should do it.
La la la! La la la! Oh no! Not again!
Hey, did you order pizza?
Well, actually, it's prank pizza.
Oh, that's Ghost Pepper. Chomp.
Hello?
Pizza delivery.
But we didn't order any pizza.
What do you got there, pizza? I want some pizza.
Uh-oh.
Get back here! Oh no! Look what you guys made him do!
Right. Yeah, I think the egg one is the funniest one for some reason, but and I imagine they're like they are the perfect future internet trolls. Now Grandview is saying that he submitted one, but it didn't load yet. Ah, okay. Well, we'll get to that one in a second. So so what do you guys think about this? So I mean, first off, the fact that they were able to, you know, finish the film, which is 3.5 minutes long, is pretty amazing. I mean, the fear of these puppets becoming dirty in some way, that Lucas was talking about last time, I don't really see that as a problem. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but they seem really clean. The sets seem pretty clean, you know. Nothing is distracting in terms of dirt, you know. So that's a good thing. So the animation itself it's limited, but it's pretty good. I mean, of course, there's always ways to improve, but I mean it's perfect for the quality, the overall quality. Everything is kind of you know, homogeneous. I don't know like really the word to use, but it's like the sculpting, the lighting, the set building, everything is, you know, nothing sticks out as, you know, I don't know the word to use, but it's you know. Yeah, somebody pointed out last time about the binary on the envelope for a robot. You know, there's like all these little small jokes in there, which is really good. And we got like these like walking carrots. I mean, yeah, everything is just really, you know, it's really good. And by the way, welcome, Keanu B. I saw you before you popped in there. So, Veteran says, watched this earlier and I really enjoyed it. I didn't notice any flicker. That's true. I haven't noticed that either. Yeah, the camera work is actually really good on this. That's a good point. And the voices and music match well to the lightheartedness of the story. And Grandview says, I really like it. It's fun, simple animation that's really good. The laughs and voices of these characters make me laugh myself. Yeah, I think, I don't know why the egg scene is, you know, I think the reason I find it funny is because you don't really expect the bird to come out like that, and then also to be, you know, breathing flames from the hot sauce. And Veteran says, Ron says, very fun. Keanu B says, so cute. And Veteran says, the only thing I would consider is diffusion to soften the light, but I am a noob. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, you could kind of argue that the whole thing can be improved in different ways. So with the lighting, you know, there could be, for example, yeah, we could have some lights on the inside of the building, maybe some diffusion, maybe some rim lights. That's for sure. With regards to the animation, we could, you know, perhaps use more easing in and easing out. For the sets, you know, we could use you know, more expensive materials. I mean, really, there's ways to improve the whole thing, but one of the things that I kind of like about this is that everything is at the same skill level. It seems like everything is it's not bad. It's not overly done to perfection. It's just kind of like in the middle somewhere, and that's one of the things that I think. I think that almost as filmmakers, they're sort of where they need to be and should be, you know. The carrots were kind of funny. They've got legs, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it overall. That's pretty much my opinion. Here they are digging some holes, right? And so Ron, yeah, he says it's consistent stylistically all the way through, and most importantly, it's entertaining. Yeah, it gets the point across. It tells the story, and yeah, the voices are good. I think they had a lot of fun doing the voices in this. It's like intentionally
Hey, did you
goofy and
order
everything.
pizza?
Well,
So yeah.
actually,
I don't know if I have anything really else to add. I just think that, you know, it would be nice to see more of these. I think that, like you say, Ron, the humor and everything else that they put into it is entertaining, and that's what makes people, you know, come back to channels like this. So yeah. Yeah, I just wanna watch this one last part one last
Hello?
time here.
pizza delivery.
But we didn't order any pizza.
What do you got there, pizza? I want some pizza.
Uh-oh.
Get back here! Oh no! Look what you guys made him do.
All right. So thank you, Lucas, for sending that in and letting us watch it. It is really hilarious. So yeah, Veteran says love the chomp chomp. Yeah, and the voice is just so goofy in that part that it just makes me laugh. I don't know. It's like, what you got there? Pizza, you know. All right. Anyway, let's move on. And so Grandview also posted a video, and I have not previewed this, so I don't know what to expect. But he says, instead of trying a brand new animation, I decided to try and reanimate a previous test because I wasn't quite happy with it. Feel free to watch only the beginning, as the rest of the video is my own analysis overall. Okay. So the beginning part is the animation. All right, gotcha. It says here in the description, so 67 frames played in 24 frames per second. Oh, okay, it must be 67 total frames. Because what I was thinking when I read that is that you animated 67 frames and then compressed it down to 24 frames, which you would have lost frames. Okay, so just trying to understand here. And it says, I decided to try something different rather than animate something new. I decided to try remaking a previous animation using what I learned from the first trial. That's good. You know, that is the best way to do things, honestly. And he says, I remade my test, breaking blocks into what I believe is a much better version. It came out much smoother, and in fact, I believe it looks to be taking place in live action. To me, it looks that realistic. Okay. And he says, if you have any previous animation tests I made in the past, let me know in the let me know if. So I think what you're saying is if you've seen any previous animation tests, let me know in the comments. If I agree, which is likely, I'll reanimate it, see if I can improve from my past errors. Okay. So that first off is really good that you're trying to improve and you're leapfrogging on your past progress. So let me mute my mic and let's watch this here.
Before we get started with the actual video, I just wanted to point out a few changes that have happened.
Let's kind of loop this through here and examine it. Actually, let's go frame by frame here. All right, so first thing I noticed is you have some anticipation here. So you go in that direction, or do you wait? Let me go back here. Okay, so you don't. That's just because of the way I was going back. I'm such a goofus. All right, so let's go forward here. So what you're doing is, all right, I think it's not working here. That's weird. No, it's because YouTube is broken. I was clicking forward and it went back a frame for some reason. Alright, let me go back to the beginning. I think it's not liking me going back and forth because it's the first frame. I'm not sure what was going on there. So, alright, let's go forward one frame at a time. So, yeah, I think YouTube is, what it's doing is, I was clicking through and it seemed like there were pauses in there, but I think that probably has something to do with the way that the codec YouTube uses to compress it is causing the frames to extend into 2 frames for some reason when I'm going forward. But what I can tell is it seems as though what you're trying to do is go for smoothness, and I see that you're sort of easing in, and then the motion is a little bit faster, and the spacing is farther apart. And then it gets to this sort of center point here, and then, oh, 1 second. I think my son forgot I had a live show. So I can see that you've scored the clay and then scored it a little bit deeper. And then at this point, I guess you've replaced it. You've probably taken it out of the frame, cut it up. There's no change between those 2 frames, and then everything sort of slides off. And then the easing out, and then also yeah, so I think it's actually pretty good. So you've taken into account that not everything moves at the same speed, and so like one brick, for example, continues to move after you've stopped it. So again, we'll look at the green block here. Go back. Oops. And Grandview, are you using Dragon Frame for this? If I could ask. Okay, so essentially what you've done is you've animated it almost exactly the same way. Maybe just a little, so you've got this one little last block that kind of rolls back and forth at the end. But other than that, it seems as though you've pretty much duplicated the animation. And so both of these are very smooth and, you know, very professionally created. You know, it's this is something that you might see in like a Gumby animation from Art Cloaky, you know, where like Gumby falls into pieces or something, or rematerializes. You know, like if you were to reverse that, it would be kind of interesting, right? You could actually probably do that and it would look just as nice. But yeah, I think it's great. I think that your animation is very smooth. Like if that's the point, you've definitely succeeded. So yeah, and then there's your set and everything, which looks really cool. I'd love to get some of those soft boxes like that, those light boxes. So the photogrammetry experiment that I've tried with trying to, I have a similar setup where I've got a couple of lights, and one is a fluorescent and one is a, you know, I've got a gel over another lamp. It's a halogen, and I'm trying to get even lighting, and it's almost impossible. But these lights here I've seen on eBay, and supposedly they're pretty inexpensive, aren't they? Not sure what you paid for those, but I mean, I'd love to get some just for that photogrammetry process. So anyways, Veteran says, dumb question, but was there any motion blur added in post? So I hadn't seen any. When I was going through frame by frame, I didn't notice any motion blur in there. I think it's just that smooth. Yeah, it's great. So Grandview says, no, but I have used it. Okay, so you've used Dragon Frame, but you didn't use it on that one. And you used a program called Anima Shooter. Okay, Anima Shooter Capture. I think I remember you telling me that. I've not tried that, but it seems like it works really well. And so it has pretty much the same features as Dragon Frame, just at a lower price. It currently costs $48, while Dragon Frame is about $300. Well, you definitely can't go wrong on the price with that. That's for sure. I know that with Dragon Frame, a lot of people complain about the price, but I believe they're pretty much, you know, marketing towards schools as well as, you know, larger studios that would use, you know, like motion control and all the fancy lights and stuff. But yeah, great job. I really love the animation. It's truly good. Okay, so let me just refresh our page, and let's see if there's any more submissions, because sometimes, like Grandview, some people, nope, there are not. Okay, I just want to make sure. Don't want to get any complaints that I missed anything. All right. So now on to our project, Bad Apples, which I want to talk about with everybody. So this weekend, so last week I bought the full version of Moho. I'm going to try to move this over. My computer is extremely laggy here. There we go. So last week I bought the full version of Moho. And so I've been trying to mess around with it, and did manage to finish one shot. Although I deleted the file that I created because I want to add some more things to our scene. So the opening shot for Bad Apples is going to be just framed sort of like what you see here. So we have, this is where the first family lives, the mother and her 3 kids. And she lives in this little house next to an apple tree, which is no longer alive or, just diseased or something. And there's only 1 apple left. And so what happens is I just simply zoom into the house, and I'll probably have the title of the film show up to the right of the house somewhere over here. That's kind of the plan for now. But what I want to do, and last night I was in Krita, which is the graphics program that I like to use sometimes, and they have a paintbrush which has like a grass pattern. And so I might have some grass in the foreground. So I kind of consider this to be the midground, and then the hills as the background. But I'd really like to give this some depth, and so I was thinking of having some grass here, although I didn't really like the way it looked when I did my test. So I don't know if that means that I need to make some clay grass and photograph it and then stick it in there, or what I'm gonna do exactly. So we will see. Now, I did find out that you can add motion blur in this program, and the shot that I did, I added motion blur to the crow, which kind of moves, he kind of goes to scare the worm inside the apple here, but it's not really something that is the main focus of this particular scene. And so I didn't even add any eyeballs to our worm yet. That's something I still need to do. But I absolutely love the program so far. Like, just the fact that I can slide things around. So I've got like the hills in the background when I zoom in, and you can see here as I scrub through that the background moves a little bit behind there. It's very subtle, but I just wanted it to be subtle. I've got the clouds which move across this, in the sky, and then so we've got the crow, which he kind of makes a little motion towards the worm, and so anyway, I have a lot of work to do on completing this particular setup. So for example, I'm thinking that I want this crow's body and to move, and I haven't added any wings on him yet. So I gotta stick the wings on there, which is something that we could do tonight actually. I gotta add eyeballs to the worm. So anyway, and I've also got the sequence of, you can see here how we can turn on and off layers and have the foam animation cycle show up, where the rocks are and all this kind of stuff. So it looks like there's flowing water. So that's something that I think is going to work. I did watch a tutorial video on how you can use, I think it's the, what is it called again now? Let me go here real quick. It is, so you can use this thing called a switch selection panel. And so this Incredible Tutorials channel is really good for Moho tutorials, and they were showing how you can use this box which opens up and just slide and scrub through different frames, and then choose what you want for lip sync. But I was thinking I could do that for this, and just as every frame is every time I capture one frame, the frame after it will be, you slide the little dial across, take another frame, and repeat that for the whole shot. So let me see here. So what else is there to say about this? So this was one of the shots that I first set up, and obviously, like I said, I need to add the wings to our crow. But I've learned how to rig things, and I believe the crow here I did not rig, or did I? Let me see. Yeah, I didn't actually rig the crow, which I could do, but what I did is I just moved the layer around, which is this transform layer. And what that means is you can sort of slide it here and there and animate it however the heck you want, really. You can turn the head, you can move it forward, backwards, you could scale it up. It's really a neat thing. So I don't want that to count as anything, so I'm going to delete. Whoop. I'm going to select the move that I just did and delete those. But you can see how that's really simple to do. I think what did I do here? So I moved the I moved something around. It is. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna keep going back. Yeah, I didn't realize that the camera actually moved when I did that. Well, anyway, I'm a newbie at this, so I screwed up. But I'm gonna close that. I'm not gonna save it. That way when I open it up, it'll work next time. But here's the next scene which I've set up. And so I need to add a few things to this this as well. There's a toy ball, there's a top, and also a train. And this is all rigged. So for example, for the middle kid, I can zoom in here. And I can move him anywhere I want. I can move his arms. I can move his body. He's got some squash and stretch. And then for this particular character, his belly is going to rumble because he's really hungry. So I'm going to kind of shake that around. And he's got a little tail here. So I can essentially, you know, take him and, you know, move him around, sort of have him like jump up in the air. I can have him squash back down when he lands. Also, the heads as well are, let me see here. So he's got a neutral head now, but I can have, you know, these different heads which I can click on. So he can be crying. He can be, and by the way, he's got, you know, hair which I'd have to unclick for certain heads like this one. We got a stretched out head, we got the squashed head. So all these things can be replaced, and the cool part is whenever I manipulate everything up here, just by selecting the new head, everything is aligned properly. So it's really an awesome program for this. Like when I started to get into it, I realized that there's so much potential for you know, tweaking your animation really to perfection. And then you've got the possibility of motion blur as well, which the one test I did seemed to work really great. So anyway, it's extremely exciting. The mother as well, we can move her around, and let's see here. So so here we go. And this is rigged slightly differently, where I've got this little side bone, and that means I can move her wherever the heck I want. And then I've got the arms. And there's things called bone strength as well. And this is something that I had to sort of, you know, figure out, you know, how all that worked and how that benefited the way that the arm would look and how it would bend. Because if you don't have the bone strength set up properly, you'll get, you know, really harsh creases and things don't look nice. So I can actually move her eyebrows around up and down, so she can be more, you know, serious. She can be, you know, excited. And then we've got the ability to, with just like with the kids, we can, where's the heads? There's a scarf. Okay, so we've got, you know, a smile. Here's a squashed head. And the only thing is with the squash and stretch heads is that I don't think I have a squash and stretch scarf. So that's something I'll probably have to add as well. And here's a surprise. And again, all this stuff connects to bones. And so everything is can be moved. It all aligns really nice. See if I can center this. So this is going to be a shot where the kids are going to be playing with their stuff here, and then the mother is going to see that they're hungry as they start crying, and then she's going to go out this door, and that's one of the scenes. It's going to be a pretty long shot. And another benefit of Moho that I found is I was thinking that I could do really long shots in here and never have any cuts. I could literally, you know, animate the kids, or like have the first scene where you can see the entire room, and then I can zoom in, have them do their thing, and I can, pan and tilt or whatever I want to do, and have the mother's reaction, and then come back out, and then have her move over to the door and leave the scene. So it's really cool. It's really awesome. Hey, Mats. Welcome back. Yes. So you guys were talking about motion blur here. So Moho actually has it built in. So I don't need real smart motion blur for this. But if you have Adobe Premiere, you can use that program. And I think also that you can probably use that in... let me see here. Is it Sony Vegas? I think that there's a way to do motion blur in there now. But anyways, so Whiskey says, let's set up the water in a switch layer and animate it in a cycle, Mark. That would be nice. We could do that. Although I'd probably have to, see a tutorial because I don't know how to do that quite yet. And Matt says I've still watched the streams, but in a replay. Oh, well, thanks. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope you get something out of them. And Grandview says, for the last shot, would you be able to move that worm and make it bend in different directions? I'm guessing no, because I believe it is a still image. Actually, I can do that. So, see, this arm here is a still image. And if you look at this, when you add these bones in there, you're actually bending the still image. And it's sort of flexing with the motion of the bone. So that's what I actually want to do with the worm. So like I said, I still need to rig him, and I also need to rig that crow properly because I've got to add the... so let's open up that scene, and we can take a look at that. It's going to take a little bit to load first. Close this one. Oh, computer is freaking out here. So here's our worm, and let's see if I can find it. So here's the worm itself. So with this, what I would need to do is convert that to a bone. And I believe in order to do that, so I think I can only do that in a folder. So I'd probably have to move him over to a folder. Yeah, because it doesn't allow me to do any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I suppose I could convert this entire thing to bone. So why don't we try that and see what the heck happens. So here's the worm. I'll select him. And I think he's going to be okay like the way he is. So I'll add some bones here. Let's add like 1, 2. Yeah, we'll add 3. And then I'm going to add some for his little antlers here. So 1. Now I need to select this bone first before I add the next bone in order for it to be connected to this bone. Otherwise, it will select the last bone and it'll be really weird. So I'm going to go like this. Okay, and now I need to, let's see, select bones. Now I'll select the worm, bone, and then use selected bones for flexi binding. That's what you click. Alright, so let's see what happens when I manipulate these. Oh, the bone strength is too big. So let us first... let's see, bind layer. Alright, I probably have to bind the layer first, don't I? Yeah. Alright, I think that should do it. Now, the problem is that it is moving everything else in the scene. Oh, now it's freaking out. So it will move everything else in the scene until you select like the background and add bones to them. I don't understand why that is. I don't really know why it actually selects all layers, but let me do this. Yeah, it's still gonna do it like that. Why is that? Yeah, I don't know why. See, normally what I would do is I would have this in a separate folder, and that's probably what it is. I need to move the worm over to a different place. So let me, let's do this. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to reopen it. In fact, let me close this other one as well once this loads. Because my memory right now I think is really low. Don't save. And yeah, I was going to show you guys also the king here. It's another shot that I set up, which you can see. Before I close it, I'll show you what I can do with him. So I can move his head, I can move his crown, I can move his arms, and give him some squash and stretch, as well as move his lower torso around. So really cool. Now I'm going to close that. And then going to move the worm. Let's see if I can move it up to here somehow. All right, Whiskey. So how do I make another another folder? Maybe it's here. New layer, perhaps, or new bone, perhaps. What's going on, Randy? All right, I'm gonna just I'm gonna call this worm, and I'm gonna move this worm in there. I think that's how I need to do it, perhaps, but I don't know for sure. So Whiskey says you can move the worm off screen at frame 0 and set up the bones there on frame 1. Move it into place when using bone str. Okay, well I'm on frame 0, so let's move it to frame 1. I think I'm doing this right. So I need to add more bones, but now this will give me the options. So let's convert. Oh. Let's see, remove tag, duplicate, quick settings. Yeah, it's not gonna work, is it? Well, I do know one way to do it. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna delete this. Let's delete it. Alright. So let's look it up. And let me see, Photoshop. Or actually, I should have that worm in here, shouldn't I? Let's look around. Props. Purple. I guess I only did it here. Okay. So outside with sky. Alright, let me load this up. Okay, so we got our worm. Let's see, where's my mouse at here? There we are. In fact, I think what we'll do is we'll take our worm. Oops. do that. And then with the apple, I'm gonna copy and paste it into new documents. I'll minimize all that stuff. And on this, I'm going to actually add some eyeballs to him as well. Now, he's really small. I don't know if I have any larger image here, because that would be a lot better to have a larger image, but I don't believe I do. So let's add his eyeballs. Maybe one here and here. Okay. Alright. So we'll go into apples. We'll call this worm. Oops. And call this one rotten apple. Okay. So back in Moho, what we're going to do now is, let's see, we're going to actually get rid of the apple in here as well. So where's the apple? It's here. Delete our layer. And then we will import, general import. Go here and find our, let's get our rotten apple first. I probably should have called that apple or something. Let's bring it to the foreground. Because right now I believe it's hidden by everything else. Oh. Where did it go? Maybe it's this one. Okay, there we are. Alright, so let's move that in place. And then we're going to import, general import, worm individually. And then move him to the foreground as well. Evidently, I don't need to do that. That's his eyeballs. Okay, this is very strange. So this one. Alright, there we go. Alright. So, so what are you guys saying here? So yeah, Ron is getting lots and lots of work, which is great. Alright. So now. Alright, so I know that there's a way to duplicate layer, new layer. Yeah, I'm a bit confused now as to how to get this to work. Well, I have a better idea. Alright. I do know how to get this to work, but it's the hard way. So I'm going to delete this layer. I'm going to delete that layer. Alright, so we have no more apples. What we're going to do is we're going to file new. File import, general import, worm individually. Alright. So this here, I'm not really sure why when I create a new project, it gives me this folder which I can right click and convert to bone. So that's what I want to do. And so we're going to turn the background off. In fact, if I can delete that, I'll do that. It's even better. And so for the body and everything, what we'll do is so let's convert it to bone. We're going to create our bones here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. All right. So then from there, what we need to do is we need to assign that to the body. And that is done by, let me see here, reparent, transform, manipulate, offset. First, let's take care of our bone strength. So we're going to dial that down. So each bone is like this. Then we're going to select all of them, go to bone. Oh, let's see, is it this one? This one. And then use select bones for flexi binding. Now if I move it, the eyes will probably still stay there. Let's see, you know? The eyes are working out okay. Alright, so I want to actually add some more bones here. So let's add one here. And then one here for his little antenna. So we're going to do the same thing, select all bones, and then bone. First we're going to select the worm. Make sure it is all selected. And then do the same thing. Now we're going to test it. Oop. First off, let's get the bone strength again back to where it needs to be. Let's run like this. It's probably good. Okay, so we got our little antenna. We've got some worm action going on here. I think we're good. So let's save this as let's see, large foam ready files, characters, and then we'll call it worm. Okay. Same thing with the apple. I think what we'll do is we'll import, general import. Then we will find our apple. We'll delete the background layer. We will convert to bone. And then we will add a bone. And I think we're going to add it maybe like this. And then what I can do is I can select this layer and bind layers. So we'll do that. We'll try it out. We'll try to manipulate it. So I don't really like that, so I'm going to actually delete that bone here. Let's do this. Delete. Let's actually add 2 bones. Maybe one here. Or you know what? Let's do this. Let's add a big one. And add one here, just like this. And like that. Select them. Bone. Select bones for flexi binding, and let's just see what that does. Alright, that's pretty good. The only thing I want to do is I want to, again, set the bone strength to be less. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to save this as, and then we will go with, let's see, film ready files. I don't want to put that in characters really, maybe props. So rotten apple. Okay, then we go back to our other scene, and then file, import Moho object, and then we'll find our rotten apple. Okay. Oops. Let's see if I can move that into place. Oh, that's probably why. Sort of like that. And then we will file, import Moho object. Oops. Characters and then worm. I'll put him in place. Now when I zoom in, what I can do is I can physically animate him any way I want. So we got his little antlers. We can have him wiggle around, move around, whatever. I can do the same thing with our apple. So I can have it swing, kind of squash and stretch. So it'll be a matter of just moving these around with keyframes. That's all you got to do. So if I go back to frame 1 here, whoops. Oh. Alright. So anyway, that's pretty much how you do it. And it's so easy to animate this stuff. I'm not going to do that tonight because I've only done some small experiments, but you can see, you know, just moving stuff around, right? Okay, so now about this, the wing for the crow. That's something that I should probably do. We got about 2 more minutes left, but I do want to get that in there. So let's let me see where that would be. So we've got raw photos. We've got PSD animation files, but where is the crow? Ready files, characters. Definitely not in there. Not in there. Alright, so I guess maybe I forgot to put the wings in there. Okay, let's load this up. So here's his wing. This is something that will make a big difference in how the animation turns out. This way he won't seem so static. And you know what? So I know that I just did a lot of work working on that worm and everything, but you guys notice that the way it looks is really pixelated as opposed to my original file, which is, where is it now? There we go. Like the worm there is just not as clean looking as this. Especially like the eyes, right? So when I do the close-up, I'm not sure I'm going to like that very much. Well, I mean, it is the end of the show, so I'm probably going to end up redoing this worm. Just because the quality could be so much nicer. I believe that this is somehow it's lost its detail in the process of moving it over to Moho and stuff. let me check here. So yeah, definitely. All right, well, gonna have to scratch that then, unfortunately. But at least you guys kind of get to see the process of how it works and how the worm gets put in there, how you animate that, and other elements, and how that can it can be really simple to do if you want to save time doing clay on glass animation anyway. So anyways, it is like I said, past 9 o'clock. So I want to thank you guys all for stopping in, and I will see you all next week. See you later.